You've already decided whether you trust me. Right now. You didn't mean to, you didn't even notice, but in the first few seconds of seeing someone, anyone, your brain makes a silent judgment that shapes everything that follows. Friend or stranger, safe or risky, leader or follower. And here's the unsettling part. Once your brain makes that decision, it will quietly bend reality to protect it. This is the hidden story of the first 7 seconds, and why your fastest judgment might be the one controlling your life without you knowing. Your brain doesn't wait for facts. It can't. From an evolutionary standpoint, hesitation used to mean death, so the mind developed a shortcut system. It's called thin slicing. In a fraction of a moment, it scans everything. Posture, tone of voice, facial symmetry, clothing, micro-expressions, even how someone enters a room. And in under 7 seconds, a conclusion forms. I like them. I don't trust them. They're confident. They seem fake. You experience this as a flash of intuition, but it's actually just your brain pattern matching, mixing in old, forgotten emotional memories. And the scariest part? Your brain doesn't tell you it's guessing. It tells you it's certain. Think back to the last time you met someone new. You probably remember what you thought of them, but you don't remember deciding what to think. That's because the decision happened before your conscious mind even woke up. By the time you arrived at the conversation, the verdict had already been written. And from that moment on, your mind became a lawyer instead of a detective. It stopped asking, what is true? And it started asking, how do I prove I was right? Your brain rewards certainty far more than it rewards accuracy. Certainty feels safe. It lowers anxiety. It gives your mind a story it can relax into. So once you label someone as arrogant or trustworthy or unreliable, your brain releases a subtle feeling of relief. Okay, I understand this person, even when you don't. And now every future interaction is filtered through that initial label. If they smile, your brain whispers, see? Fake. If they make a mistake, I knew it. If they succeed at something that doesn't fit your story, your mind just ignores it. It edits reality to protect the first impression. But here's what almost nobody tells you about this process. Your judgments, they say more about your past than about the person standing in front of you. Someone who once embarrassed you, someone who once hurt you, someone who once rejected you. Your brain stores emotional fingerprints of these people. So when a new face, a new voice resembles an old wound, even slightly, your nervous system reacts as if time has collapsed. You don't judge them, you judge your memory through their face. So the real question isn't, why do we judge people so fast? It's this: how many people have you misjudged? How many connections have you missed? How many friendships have you avoided? Not because you were cruel, but because your brain was trying to protect you from a past you didn't even realize was still active. Think about it. Friendships, job interviews, dating, networking, trust. So many of life's most important turning points are shaped by a judgment before a real conversation ever begins. We like to believe we get to know people, but more often than not, we just gather evidence for the version of them we invented on day one. Some people never recover from a bad first impression, not because they deserved it, but because no one ever went back to rewrite the story. So why are we so stubborn about our initial takes? It comes down to this. Admitting your first impression was wrong creates something called cognitive dissonance. It's a deep psychological discomfort. It's the feeling of, I misread the situation. I misjudged their character. I was wrong. And the human brain would rather subtly distort reality than admit it made an error. So instead of changing the belief, it starts to reshape the evidence. It looks for proof that it was right all along. This is why incredibly smart people can hold on to false perceptions for years, not because they're unintelligent, but because the mind defends its own identity like a fortress. Being right feels safe. But these fast judgments, the ones that feel so efficient in the moment, have a quiet cost. Over time, they shrink your world. You stop seeing complexity in people. You stop seeing their capacity for growth. You stop seeing the contradictions that make them human. You reduce entire beings into simple headlines: the loud one, the shy one, the arrogant one. And slowly, without even realizing it, you start living in a smaller emotional range. It feels safer, yes, but it's also flatter. You might be less disappointed, but you will also be far less surprised. But there's a quiet shift that can rewire this entire pattern. It's a 7-second rule that changes everything. The next time you meet someone, instead of asking yourself, do I like this person? Ask a different question. What am I reacting to? Don't judge the person. Observe your reaction. Is what you're feeling fear? Is it comparison? Is it a memory of someone else? Envy? Attraction? A need to defend yourself? The moment you observe your internal reaction, instead of just blindly obeying it, you break the spell. You step out of pure reflex and into awareness. This is also the truth about what we call good intuition. Real intuition is an instant. It's not loud or panicked. True intuition emerges after the emotional noise settles down. It comes from a place of presence, not panic, from observation, not projection. It comes from seeing the actual person in front of you, not the ghost of someone who once hurt you, wearing a new face. Every single person you meet is standing at the crossroads of thousands of moments you will never, ever see. And every fast judgment you make is a decision about how much of their story you're willing to allow yourself to discover. The first 7 seconds will always happen. That initial reaction is part of our wiring. The real question is, will those 7 seconds decide for you, or will you decide what comes next?
If you've ever judged someone in the first 7 seconds, congratulations, we all do that. But here's the good news. Awareness is the cheat code. The next time your brain jumps to conclusions, just pause and think, oh wow, my inner caveman is speaking again. Then give the person a little more time than your instincts want to allow. Because some of the best people in your life, they don't make sense in the first 7 seconds, they make sense later. So stay curious, stay open, and don't let your first impression steal a great connection. Thanks for watching.